Ladies and gentlemen, there's something unmistakable about a man who has been broken. You can see it in his posture, shoulders slumped, gaze unfocused, a heaviness in his steps. You can hear it in his voice, words spoken without conviction, a hesitation where there used to be certainty. And if you really pay attention, you can feel it radiating from him like the ghost of who he once was. When a man is broken, you don't need to be told. It's written all over him. His posture is different, his shoulders slump, his head tilts downward, and his movements lack the energy and confidence they once had. There is no fire in his eyes, no spark of purpose. He walks through the world as if the weight of life itself has become too much to bear. His voice too changes. It loses its strength, its certainty. He may speak more softly, hesitantly, or not much at all. Conversations become mechanical, devoid of passion or conviction. There's an absence of enthusiasm, a lack of engagement. Even his laughter, if he laughs at all, feels hollow, forced. It's as if he is going through the motions of what life used to be, but with none of the substance that once fueled him. A broken man withdraws. He isolates himself either physically or emotionally because he no longer sees the point in trying. He might still show up at work, still interact with family or friends, but there's something missing. He's not truly present. He's there, but he's not there. He avoids eye contact. His responses are shorter, and the depth he once had in his conversations fades. And when no one seems to notice, it reinforces the belief that maybe it doesn't matter whether he engages with the world or not. There's a heaviness to a broken man, a kind of exhaustion that runs deeper than physical tiredness. It's a spiritual and emotional depletion, a sense that no matter what he does, it won't be enough. He stops making plans for the future because he no longer believes in it. He moves through his days like a ghost of who he once was, not because he wants to, but because he doesn't know what else to do. People often mistake this for laziness or weakness, but it's neither. It's the visible manifestation of prolonged struggle, failure, and disillusionment. A broken man is not someone who has simply had a bad day. He is someone who has been fighting battles for so long with so little reward that he has begun to lose faith in the fight itself. And the tragic part is that while his pain is often obvious, the world rarely stops to ask what broke him in the first place. A man doesn't break all at once. It happens slowly, piece by piece, over time. It's not a single catastrophic event that destroys him, but a series of small losses, disappointments, and burdens that accumulate until one day he no longer recognizes himself. The process is subtle, almost imperceptible at first. He starts with hope, with ambition, with dreams that seem within reach. But life pushes back. He faces rejection, failure, setbacks. Maybe his career doesn't take off the way he expected. Maybe the woman he loved walks away. Maybe the people he trusted let him down. Each time he brushes it off, tells himself to keep going. And he does until he can't. The erosion of a man happens when his efforts continuously lead to nothing. He works harder, fights harder, gives more of himself, believing that if he just perseveres, things will change. But when the world does not respond to his sacrifice, when his effort goes unrecognized, when his struggles are met with indifference, something inside him starts to shift. The fire dims. The belief that he has control over his future weakens. He begins to question his worth, his purpose. At first, the signs are subtle. He starts sleeping in a little later, skipping the gym, losing interest in the things that once excited him. His goals feel further away and he stops making new ones. He tells himself it's temporary, that he just needs a break. But as time passes, his energy doesn't return. His motivation dwindles. The things he once cared about seem pointless. And when he looks in the mirror, he sees a man who is merely existing, not living. It isn't just external failures that wear him down, it's the loneliness, the feeling that no one understands or even notices what he's going through. Society teaches men to be strong, to suppress their struggles, to keep moving forward no matter what. But when he does this for too long without relief, he reaches a breaking point. He stops trying, not because he's weak, but because trying has brought him nothing but more pain. A man doesn't wake up one day broken. He becomes broken over time, worn down by a world that tells him to keep going but never stops to ask if he's okay. And when the weight becomes too much, he finally collapses, not from a single blow, but from the relentless accumulation of wounds too deep to heal on their own. Men are expected to be strong. From a young age, they are taught to toughen up, to endure hardship without complaint, to suppress their emotions and keep moving forward. Society admires resilience in men, praises their ability to push through pain, and values their contributions as providers and protectors. But what happens when a man struggles? What happens when the weight of responsibility, failure, or loss becomes too much? Too often he is met with silence. There is an unspoken expectation that men should handle their problems alone. Unlike women who are encouraged to express their emotions and seek support, men are conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a weakness. When a man falters, when he finds himself struggling, he quickly realizes that the world isn't as forgiving toward his pain. He learns that if he opens up, he risks being judged, seen as less capable, or even dismissed entirely. Over time, he internalizes this lesson: no one is coming to save him. At work, he is expected to perform regardless of his mental state. In relationships, he is often expected to be the pillar of strength. If he expresses doubt, fear, or exhaustion, he risks being perceived as unworthy. And so, he keeps his struggles to himself. He bottles them up, pretending that everything is fine, because admitting otherwise could mean losing respect. But ignoring pain doesn't make it disappear, it makes it worse. When a man has no outlet, no space to express what he's going through, the weight begins to crush him from the inside. He withdraws, not necessarily because he wants to, but because he doesn't see another option. He suffers in silence, convincing himself that this is just how life is supposed to be. The tragedy is that many men do not break because they are weak, they break because they are strong for too long without relief. They continue to push forward despite feeling unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. And when they finally reach a point where they can't keep going, they are often met with confusion or even blame, because society rarely stops to ask how the burden became so heavy in the first place. The expectation for men to be unbreakable is precisely what leads so many to fall apart. Strength is valuable, but no one, no matter how strong, can carry everything alone forever. A broken man is not beyond repair. No matter how far he has fallen, no matter how much he has lost, there is always a way forward. But the truth is, no one else can do it for him. No one is coming to save him. If he wants to rebuild, he must make the decision himself. That is both the harsh reality and the incredible power of being a man. He has the ability to redefine himself, to construct a new version of who he is, but only if he is willing to take responsibility for it. The problem is that when a man is broken, he often believes that his situation is permanent. He tells himself that this is just who he is now, a shell of what he once was. His failures, his disappointments all reinforce the idea that there's no point in trying. He becomes trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and inaction, waiting for something or someone to pull him out of it. But nothing changes until he decides to take action, even if it's small, even if it's painful. Rebuilding starts with a choice. A man has to decide that he is not finished, that his story is not over. He has to face the truth, no matter how bitter it is, and take ownership of his own recovery. That means acknowledging where he went wrong, where he allowed himself to fall into despair, and where he gave up on himself. It means accepting that while the world may have been unfair, it is still his responsibility to rise again. The process of rebuilding is slow. It is not about instant transformations or grand gestures. It is about discipline, about taking small but meaningful steps every day. A broken man must find structure where there was once chaos, purpose where there was once emptiness. He must start with the basics: his body, his mind, his daily habits. He has to move even when he doesn't feel like it. He has to think, even when his mind wants to shut down. He has to engage with the world, even when he feels unworthy. A man can rise from anything. No matter how much he has suffered, no matter how much he has lost, he can rebuild. But he must be the one to start the process. No one else will do it for him. And when he finally makes that choice, he is no longer just surviving, he is reclaiming his life. The road to recovery is not easy. When a man reaches his lowest point, when he feels broken and lost, the idea of climbing back up seems overwhelming. There is no quick fix, no simple solution that will make everything right overnight. Healing is not a straight line. It is a slow and painful process that requires persistence, discipline, and an acceptance of struggle. The first step is often the hardest, facing the reality of where he is. A man who has been broken must look at himself honestly, without excuses, without self-deception. He must acknowledge the mistakes he has made, the opportunities he has wasted, the ways he has let himself slip. This is painful because it forces him to confront the gap between the man he once was, or hoped to be, and the man he has become. But without this self-awareness, change is impossible. Once he accepts his situation, the next step is movement. Not necessarily in a grand, dramatic way, but in small, deliberate actions. When a man is broken, he doesn't feel like doing anything. He doesn't feel like working out, like setting goals, like rebuilding relationships. But this is where discipline must replace motivation. He must take action even when every part of him wants to remain still. He must train himself to push forward, not because he feels like it, but because he knows he has to. The process will hurt. Growth is painful. There will be days when he feels like nothing is changing, when old thoughts creep in and tell him that all of this effort is pointless. But this is the test. The difference between staying broken and rising again is the ability to endure discomfort without giving in. Progress is made not by sudden bursts of inspiration, but by consistency in the face of doubt. A man recovering from being broken must also redefine his purpose. He must create meaning in his life, even if the world around him does not provide it. This could mean setting personal goals, learning new skills, or simply committing to becoming stronger in every way possible. Purpose is what fuels resilience. Without it, life feels empty, and it is easy to fall back into despair. Rebuilding is not easy, nor is it supposed to be, but the difficulty of the journey is what makes it worth it. Through pain, through struggle, through relentless effort, a man can reshape himself into someone stronger than he ever was before. When a man decides to rise again, it is undeniable. The same way people can see when he is broken, they can see when he is rebuilding. His posture changes, he stands taller, moves with purpose. His voice carries weight again, filled with conviction rather than doubt. His actions become deliberate, no longer driven by hesitation or fear, but by a sense of control over his life. This transformation does not happen overnight, and it does not happen easily. It is forged through discipline, through repeated efforts in the face of struggle. The world may not notice at first, but over time the difference becomes clear. A man who has rebuilt himself is stronger than he was before, not because he avoided suffering, but because he endured it and came out on the other side. There is nothing more powerful than a man who has been to the depths of despair and refused to stay there. He understands pain, but he is no longer ruled by it. He knows what it means to be broken, which means he also knows the value of being whole. His strength is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and unshakable. And when the world sees him rise, they will know it.